Every year in the UK, millions of residents fall victim to scams of one kind or another, as the UK continues to consistently lose more than £1 billion each year to fraud. Hello, my name is Jason Lemm, and I am the Digital Safety and Fraud Prevention Lead for the Community Safety Team in West Sussex County Council. One of my roles is to chair the Fraud Prevention Working Group, who were formed to coordinate an effective, responsive and cost-effective approach to fraud prevention here in West Sussex. The group, which consists of numerous partner organisations, raise awareness of the fast-moving fraud landscape and aim to reduce the number of victims and repeat victims of scams and frauds. With new and more sophisticated fraud methods being developed every day, one thing remains consistent, and that is the fraudsters continue to target the most vulnerable members of our society. So with this in mind, the Fraud Prevention Working Group decided to put together a series of videos explaining the top 5 main fraud types, how they work, what to look out for, and most importantly, how to avoid them. So whether it's courier fraud or sextortion, I invite you all to watch the following videos, each recorded by members of our own Fraud Prevention Working Group, who are often subject matter experts dealing specifically with the fraud type they are talking about. Whilst each fraud explained is uniquely different, there is a common theme which connects each of them, and it's this that I would like you to look out for as you watch the following videos. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Courier fraudsters are contacting victims, often by telephone, posing as police officers or bank representatives, and convincing them to hand over money, valuables or credit cards, which will be collected by a courier. My name is PCSO Tara Watson-Ives, and I work within the neighbourhood policing team at Chichester Police Station. So what is courier fraud? In most cases of courier fraud, a fraudster phones their victim and claims to be from their bank, the police or other law enforcement authority. They then con the victim into revealing their PIN and credit or debit card details. Sadly, the most common victims of courier fraud are the elderly. So, what to look out for? A scammer calls you, claiming to be from your bank or a police officer, and they will tell you either that a fraudulent payment has been spotted on your card and that it needs sorting out, or that someone has been arrested for using your details and cards. You may be asked to call your bank using the phone number on the back of your card. This convinces you that the call is genuine. However, the scammer will have kept the phone line open at their end, so when you make the call, you're unknowingly connecting straight back to them or their friends. And they'll either ask you for your PIN or they'll ask you to key it into your phone. No bank or other legitimate service will ever ask you for your PIN. The scammer then sends a courier or a taxi to pick up your card from your home. Even the driver may not know that they are part of this scam. And once the scammer has both your card and your PIN, they can spend your money. A different version of this scam is where you are contacted and told that there's a corrupt member of staff at your bank, post office or bureau de change, and the police need your help to identify them. They will ask you to go to your bank and withdraw large sums of your money, which the police or bank will then mark and put back into the banking system. They say that this will help them identify the corrupt person. Again, they will send a courier to collect the money, and once they have it, the scammer simply takes it. And one final example of courier fraud is where a fake police officer either phones or approaches you and asks you to buy an expensive watch or other high-value items to try and find out if counterfeit goods are being sold. And once you have bought the item, the scammer tells you to hand it to a taxi driver to be transported to the police. The expensive item is, of course, taken straight to the scammer. So some final points on how to protect yourself. Remember, your bank or the police will never ask for your PIN, your bank card, or to withdraw money. Caution: never share your PIN with anyone. The only time you should use your PIN is at a cash machine or when you're in a shop and use the chip and PIN. Think, Never hand your bank card or any goods you have purchased as a result of a phone call to anyone who comes to your front door. And finally, investigate. If you think you've been a victim of this scam, please call the police.
Sextortion is when criminals blackmail a young person with a threat to share or distribute nude or semi-nude images of them, unless they pay a sum of money to the criminals. My name is Claudia Wilson and I work for West Sussex County Council within the Community Safety and Wellbeing team as a Digital Safety and Fraud Delivery Officer. So what is extortion and what does it actually mean? The meaning of sextortion combines the words sex and extortion. It's a form of sexual exploitation where a young person is blackmailed with the threat of sharing nude or sexual content by a criminal who demands money from the young person. Sextortion can happen when a young person shares a sexual image with someone they believed could be trusted, but in the case of sextortion, they are targeted by deceitful criminals who have obtained the sexual content through lying, coercion, or blackmail. Here's an example case study of what sextortion can actually look like. When Vinny was 14, he went online to look for a girlfriend. He ended up chatting to 14-year-old Gabby. Vinny and Gabby spent a few hours chatting online, which eventually led to Gabby suggesting that Vinny strips and gets naked on a webcam. Vinny felt like he knew Gabby really well, even though they'd only been chatting online for a couple of hours. He had no problem stripping on the webcam because Gabby had promised to strip once he did, and Vinny trusted her. Vinny stripped on the webcam, and when he asked Gabby to return the favour, Gabby replied by revealing that she was in fact a middle-aged man who had been pretending to be a 14-year-old girl. The man then went on to say that he had recorded Vinny and that if he didn't keep stripping, he would put the footage online and share it with all his contacts. So if you are like Vinny, what could you look out for? Look out for unfamiliar contact. Be wary of messages that come from strangers or anyone that you do not know. Look out for rapid escalation within messages, where conversations quickly become sexually explicit, for example, or include requests for explicit images or video content. Pressure and manipulation, where the person tries to coerce you into doing something that you're uncomfortable with. Find the power to say no. Any hacking claims, where they claim to have hacked your device or have access to your contacts. This is likely to be a threat. Financial demands. They will demand payment often after you share an image. They will also try to move you to a new platform, where the conversations are more private, like an encrypted messaging app, for example. So what can you do if you are a victim of sextortion? Please don't panic. You aren't the only person this has happened to. Help and support is available to you. Don't pay the criminal. Save any evidence that you have. Take screenshots, save the messages and images, and collect the URL links to where the information is being shared online. You can also report it to social media companies if the communication happened on these channels, for example, on Facebook or on Instagram. Block all communication with the person that is targeting you. And lastly, most social media sites have rules against sharing intimate content without consent, and you should be able to get the material removed.
Romance fraud is when someone is deceived by a criminal, sometimes called a scammer, into thinking that they are in a genuine relationship or friendship. The criminal may convince them to send money or to keep hold of or transfer money into another account for them. My name is Lauren Brain, and I'm an operations manager within Victim Support, an independent charity offering free and confidential support to people affected by crime in England and Wales. We are currently running a fraud peer support service for victims of relationship fraud in London, Kent, and Sussex. Romance fraud can happen to anyone and is often complex, with fraudsters spending a lot of time gaining victims' trust. The impact can be devastating for a victim when they find out that the relationship and person they're speaking with is not genuine. These frauds often involve a fraudster creating a fake identity and using stolen images to convince victims that they are real. The criminals behind this often target people based on their likes and dislikes and often take the time to get to know their victims first before asking for money, for vouchers, or for them to hold or move money. It can take place over several months or even years, using manipulation and coercion to trick victims. Sometimes fraudsters may use fake investment opportunities to deceive individuals, using their connection to make it feel more real. Something like, I'm letting you in on this because you mean so much to me and I would like you to make some money. There are some indicators of romance fraud that you can look out for, and these include a relationship moving really quickly. We sometimes refer to this as love bombing, and this is when a fraudster may profess their love or intense feelings very early on. They may also ask quite personal questions. The fraudster may also avoid meeting in person or a video call, for example. And usually their story doesn't quite add up. They may claim to work for a company that doesn't exist or has closed down, or refuse to answer personal questions about themselves, deflecting focus back onto the victim. They often ask for help, so it's common for our friends or family to ask for help from time to time. However, it's less common for strangers to ask for big favours, or people that you've only known for a short time to ask for big favours. And if they ask you for money or access to a bank account, personal details, etc., this could be a sign that they are actually using you or using a victim. Usually that ask for help or ask for money may come with an emergency situation and will quite often have a sense of urgency to it, perhaps a medical emergency or a problem whilst abroad. If you've been a victim of romance fraud, you can report this to Sussex Police and your bank. It can be really overwhelming to do this, and there is of course support available in your local area to help you or to help you to come to terms with what's happened. Please visit Victim Support's website to find out what support's available in your area, or give our 24/7 support line a call on 0808 16 89 111.
My name is Richard Sargeant and I am here from West Sussex Trading Standards Service. We work to protect consumers and tackle unfair or illegal trading in our communities. Today, I want to talk to you about a common and harmful type of fraud, doorstep crime, often carried out by what we call rogue traders. These are individuals or groups who turn up at your home without warning, offering to carry out work like gardening, roof repairs, driveway cleaning, or other home improvements. At first glance, they might seem helpful or friendly and often pretend to be professional tradespeople. But in many cases, they overcharge, do poor quality work, leave the job unfinished, or take your money and disappear altogether. So let's be clear, not every doorstep caller is a criminal, but rogue traders use pressure tactics, scare stories, or fake urgency to get you to agree to work quickly without giving you time to think or compare prices. Examples of this include alleging that you have loose tiles on your roof or your tree is unsafe and it could fall on someone or a car. They often target older or more vulnerable people, and they can be very convincing. Doorstep criminals rarely provide paperwork, so they can't be traced once they've left your home. Names, addresses, and business details are often false, and telephone numbers don't get answered. They have no interest in doing work properly. Their only concern is getting the cash and disappearing before trading standards or the police can catch up with them. So how can you protect yourself? Don't agree to work from someone who knocks at your door out of the blue. a genuine trader will give you time to decide. Ask for ID, and if you're unsure, shut the door and check it yourself. Be very cautious and do not allow them inside your home. Remember to always get 3 quotes, never pay up front, and don't pay by cash. Never let somebody take you to the bank to get money for them. Use trusted local traders. Schemes like Buy with Confidence can help you find someone reliable. And finally, look out for your neighbours. Now, if you see something suspicious, report it to Trading Standards via Citizens Advice or Sussex Police. If it feels wrong, it probably is. Trust your instincts and don't be afraid to say no thanks and close the door. Thank you and stay safe.
Investment fraud is where criminals convince you to put your money into a product, scheme or business that isn't real in order to steal your money. My name is Hope Blandamer and I work for West Sussex County Council and West Sussex Fire and Rescue Service in the Resilience and Emergencies team. What is investment? Investment is where you put your money into a product, scheme or business with the expectation that the value of that product, scheme or business increases and you get more money back. You can invest in almost anything, but how successful it is will depend on the money you get back. Investment also risks you losing the money that you invest. What is investment fraud? Investment fraud is where you are convinced to invest your money in a product, scheme or business that isn't real in order for criminals to steal that money. Usually you'd be contacted out of the blue by a criminal who convinced you that this is a fantastic opportunity that must be seized immediately. The criminals or fraudsters would then stop contact. So what should you look out for? You should always be wary of anyone telling you to move your money quickly. Any legitimate investment opportunity will give you time to investigate and to think about whether this is a suitable investment for you. You should never be rushed into moving money into an investment. If investment fraudsters will often convince you that you'll be getting fantastic sums back. If it seems like it's too good to be true, it probably is. There's been a rise in the use of social media as a tool for promoting investment fraud. More and more people are being befriended online and then convinced to invest in a scam. Similarly, the use of deep fakes and fake celebrity endorsements is causing people to invest in things that aren't real. Always be wary of any financial information shared on social media and check with family, friends and other authorities if the opportunity is real. In the UK, any financial business is regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. You can check online if there is a record of the person, business or scheme that you're being asked to invest in. This is a really good way to check that an investment opportunity is genuine. Investing is inherently risky as there's always a chance that you will lose the money you invest as well as gain more. However, investment fraud is different. There's never a chance you'll get your money back as criminals just want the opportunity to steal that money. Always check with friends, family and professionals about the opportunity you're being offered and think carefully about the financial promises being made. Thank you.
That brings us to the end of our fraud types video. Did you spot that connecting theme between each of the 5 fraud types? Regardless of whether a victim is contacted on the phone, email, post or via social media, that contact is always unsolicited, or the contact that you have is not requested. This is true of nearly all fraud types. Awareness is the first step in protecting ourselves and others. If you found these videos useful, please do share them with friends, colleagues, family and loved ones. Talk about what these frauds are, and together we can all help prevent fraud. Thank you again for listening.